Hello there, right here we got a brand new snapshot, the first one of the 2021 year. This is the newest 1.17 version, 21W03A. This one comes with some new mobs and new items and a lot of cool content for the game. Before I cover all the changes, make sure to subscribe and join our live stream right after watching this video. They added a new item in the game. This is actually called glowing lichen, which you can find naturally inside of caves. It does put off a faint light, and if you're inside of it, it's a light level of 7. You can find it down here in the decorative blocks, and if you bone meal this, it will spread. So I'm just bone milling the center one, and you can kind of see how it chooses a random side and puts another one. You can also place it on the ground and it can spread, as well as on the ceiling. In survival, you can use shears to collect the item. Otherwise, when you break it, it doesn't produce anything. Even though it looks kind of like vines, you're not able to climb up it. And it doesn't grow naturally like vines. This will be a cool way to add subtle light to areas, or even add different textures on top of other blocks. Here's some examples of it sitting on top of different blocks like diorite, leaves, and gold block. You can automatically bone mill it using dispensers, so you can make a farm using this and just break them with a shears. Now during the Minecraft live event, they had like ores that were glowing inside the cave. That was just a temporary block for Lichen. Lichen is the new block which is going to kind of give the glowing effect inside caves that they wanted. Let me know what else you want us to test about the glowing Lichen. They added a brand new mob to the game. This is the glowing squid. And you can get them by summoning in or using the spawn egg, but they don't naturally spawn in the world yet. Glowing squids put off quite a bit of light, which you can see a good distance away. When they are in the water, it's a little bit harder to see them. The light doesn't actually light up the area around it. Now when a glowing squid dies, it will drop glow ink sacks. And with these new items, you can dye signs that have words on them. So in order to make it vibrant, you do have to dye it first, then use the glow ink sack on it. And there you go, you can see it's much more vibrant, and it even makes a little funny noise. Now you can even craft up a new item which is called glow item frame. Make an item frame and then use some glow ink in crafting grid, and you can see you got the new item. This will make whatever you put into it glow. This is best seen in the dark, so let's put one down here and put our sword in it, and wow, yeah, that's very vibrant. You can compare this to a normal item frame. You can also use a normal ink sac to remove the glowing effect. So let's go ahead and use that on here, and it goes back to normal. And this only applies the signs and not the item frames. You just have to craft up a new one. Axolotls will also attack the glow squid since they are a type of squid. And they do put off this really cool like glowing ink after they get hurt. This means we can use my new axolotl squid farm to make a glowing squid farm to produce us tons of this new item. I'll have that video linked below. If there's anything you guys want us to test with either the glowing squid or the glowing item frames or signs, let us know. They now made a new recipe for the dripstone blocks. If you have 4 pointed dripstone, you can produce 1 block. Eventually, I think they'll make it so that these things will grow on their own under special conditions, and then you can harvest them similar to my Weeping Vine farm. Besides these cool new changes, they did a ton of bug fixes, which I'll go over now. They fixed a pretty old bug, which has a bug number of only 9,000. And this fixes a problem where mobs that grow up will sometimes clip through like walls or fences or suffocate into nearby blocks. This should be great when you have mobs in a pen and you breed them up and you don't have to worry about them escaping. There was a game crashing problem to do with spawners that had a weight of 0. They also fixed shulkers desyncing when they get removed from a boat or minecart when it is destroyed. There was a problem that mobs weren't being tempted by food that the player had in his hand if there was a player that was closer to the mob. When setting JSON text values to null, this caused it to throw an exception and crash. They also fixed a problem that if a shulker was turned sideways and it got put into a minecart or boat, it'll now face up and down. A spawner that had shulkers inside would spawn white shulkers, but this has now been fixed. There was some inconsistencies to do with moving shulkers with pistons, like if you try to have the shulker be pushed to go in this direction, you can see instead of him just getting moved, he went over here. And now that's been fixed, so he should move just like this. Inside the GUI here, there was an extra little pixel on the side that they removed. They fixed the teleporting shulker bug that we showed during the shulker shell shulker, where you send a shulker through a portal, it'll often try to send him to the coords of the previous world he was in. So like if we would send him into the nether portal right now, it would try to put him at these coordinates, but in the nether. And if we try to do it in the end dimension, the end portal is near 0, 0, so therefore the shulker would end up near 0, 0. And this is the same problem that we had with our shulker farms that we made last time. The killing chambers we had to put at the coordinates rather than where you would expect them to end up. So I'm glad they fixed this, that way people can understand better where shulkers will end up when teleporting through portals. They fixed a problem to do with gaps in animations. Used frames throws an array index out of bounds exception. There's a problem that a shulker box cannot be opened if it's near a actual shulker mob. They also fixed that problem which I talked about that was introduced in 1.16, which is if a shulker is closer than 1 block, they will teleport away from each other. Apparently that was a bug. I thought they actually did that on purpose, but yeah, now they fixed that. They also made a change so that shulkers will no longer try to open up inside of a block if they're unable to teleport away, because right now they consider this as a bad location. They want to teleport away, but they can't. So now they should just stay closed. They also address the problem where shulkers aren't aligned directly to a block split second before being spawned in. They may change the boats so that they will try to now dismount you onto nearby land instead of just on top of the boat. They also fixed the desync bug where people could desync server side from different mounts. The shulker bullet subtitles are not capitalized correctly. Sometimes when you right click an empty bundle, it will play the hand animation. In your statistics, there is a bundle use statistic, but it was actually never being properly kept track of, which has changed. When creating a new world, it used to be, way in the past, it used to be survival, then hardcore, then creative. But at some point it switched to creative being second, and now they actually changed it back to what it used to be, which is survival, then hardcore. They also fixed a bug to do with the type inside of the loot table in the loot table number providers is now optional. There was a problem that the game would crash if you tried to shift click a chest into a donkey's chest when the donkey's chest was being removed. And this has now been fixed. It now added so that there is a subtitle for the drips that come off of these guys. In the dripstone cave biomes, they had the name not properly capitalized. They also fixed a problem that in natural generation, in those caves, actual formations were being generated in ways that you can't normally do in survival. There's also a problem with generation and these dripstone generating where there is lava. Now in the actual dripstone cave biomes, mobs weren't able to spawn in those biomes, which has been changed. They also fixed a problem to do with the chunk rendering when the height limit is very large. And this has to do with their new change where they're increasing the height limit even though you can't really access it in survival. It probably will be something that we see in later 1.17 snapshots and then will be used for the new mountains. There was a problem that if you would summon in the particles of dust colored transition, it'd kick all the nearby players off of a server. They also fixed a problem to do with player sub-predicates of entity properties, where the predicates only passes if the game mode is specified. They also fixed some dupe bugs which could occur with shulkers or bundles, where if it was destroyed by two different fire sources, it would drop twice as many items. Similar thing was happening with cauldrons of lava. That was a lot of bug fixes for this version. I'm really excited for quite a few of them, including the ones that do with the shulkers. You can see that when you update some of your old worlds, the new ones look off-centered, which is probably just a bug in the snapshot. This does mean we'll probably update our shulker shell farm to make it more consistent and easy to build. Now when it comes to the new features, the glowing effect, a lot of people thought that the glow from like the squids or the item frames or even in the signs was going to actually produce light around it. But early on they said they would not do that because that would be a whole new type of engine they would have to design just to make this possible. And I'm sure it would probably be more lag on the game as well. So I think it's a good thing that the mobs look very shiny, these look shiny, this looks bright, but it doesn't actually affect the light level around it. So you can do kind of cool things where you have a dark room with something that's kind of really bright. Now in real life, Lichen can actually be consumed, but currently in the game, you can't do that. I don't know if they'll change that in the future, or they'll just use it as a decoration block. Maybe you'll end up feeding it to something, but I definitely think this is more of kind of a decoration update. Whenever they come out with a new snapshot, they try to add like some redstone stuff, some like map maker stuff, some PvP stuff, and now we're kind of seeing like the builders decoration stuff. I'm really excited to see how builders use these new blocks and items. And don't forget, soon after this video goes live, I will be streaming on our testing world, which is open up to everyone, where we play around with all the new features. You can learn how to join that server with my Twitch link down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like on this video as well as share it with others. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.